Hi guys, it's Amber, welcome back to my channel. So we have a non-fertility related episode and I hope you're all buzzing. I'm really excited to film this one. I think this is something that actually quite a lot of thought has gone into, but once again I am just sat here talking to you, so I hope that's your gag because this is what I'm doing. So today it is obviously post-Christmas, nearly New Year. It's that really awkward in-between stage when nobody really knows what they're doing. So I figured that today I would sit and talk to you all about my goals for 2020. 2019 has been such a year. I don't know if it's been a good year or if it's been a bad year. So much has happened that I feel like my head is just a bit whoa when it comes to thinking about 2019. But I think it's really strange as well that a decade is literally coming to an end. Like since 2010, what have I done? I've finished school, I've finished my A-levels, I've passed my driving test, I've gone to uni, I've done a degree, I've graduated, I've got married, I've had IVF. Like there is so much that has gone on in the last 10 years that it is just mind-blowing. So I've put together a list of 20 things that I kind of want to change about myself, or 20 things that I kind of want to put into place during 2020. So my 20 goals for 2020. How many times can I say 20? And that's what this video is. So grab yourself a cuppa, grab yourself whatever drink you want, get yourself all comfy, and we will just start talking about my goals for 2020. So I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas. We literally just spent Christmas. We spent some of it with Marco's family, some of it with my dad, which was really, really nice. As I think the last time I actually spent Christmas, or any of Christmas with my dad, I was 16, 17, so we're looking at 8-9 years ago. So it was really, really nice. I had far too much Prosecco as always. And now I'm just tucking into a McDonald's milkshake, obviously chocolate. But you know that really weird thing, you go get a McDonald's and you ask for a certain milkshake but it tastes like a different one because obviously the person before you had a different milkshake. So this is a chocolate milkshake with a hint of strawberry. My favourite. Screw it, it's Christmas. So when it comes to my goals, I have actually written them all down on my phone, which won't unlock because my fingers are wet, so hold on. This is annoying. So I have written out all my 2020 goals on my phone, so I can talk to you about them, explain them to you. So these are more things like things that I'm not going to sit here and say that every single one I'm going to do as of the 1st of January and that is it for the end of the year. I am terrible at keeping New Year's resolutions. I've been saying I will stop biting my nails since I was about 6 and it's just not happened. 20 years later I still chew my fingers to death. So I am kind of going to break this down into quarterly things. They're things that I'm just going to try and do. Some things are bigger than others, so I'll explain all this to you as we go. Some of them might be things that you want to try yourself, some things you might not. Some things are just things that might give you a little bit of inspiration. I don't know. Whether or not I stick to all 20, we'll see. But we'll see. So we'll start with number 1. So number 1 is a big one for me. Number 1 is drink more water. I do not drink water anywhere near as often as I should. I have a big 2-litre bottle that I take to work with me every day. However, I probably only get it out my bag twice a week. For me, drinking more water is a really big thing. I have really big bags under my eyes, my skin isn't ideal, and I know that there's a lot of things that would change if I was to drink more water. When we were going through our IVF cycle, I had to drink 3 litres a day and I just felt so much better. So for my health more than anything, that is something I think I really, really need to do. Number 2, plan out my days. So this is quite a big one for me. I think I kind of take every day as it comes, and a lot of the time I just wing it, and this can cause me a lot of problems. Like there's a lot of things that I would like to get done in a day that I don't do because I sit there and I spend about 2 hours just sat on my sofa drinking tea, and then I'm like, oh well, now it's this time and I've not done this and I've still got all this to do, and everything just ends up being a bit of a rush for me. So I think I bought myself like a big planner, a big daily planner from Paper Chase, and it doesn't have any dates in it, but it has all your goals and everything like that in it, and I think it's brilliant. So my goal for 2020 really is to utilise that and actually use it, because I think if I have everything down in a list and I can tick things off as I go, then I kind of feel like I've got my shit together a little bit. So that is my next goal. Hopefully I do it. Oh, this is really good. And now I've got brain freeze. Oh. Okay, so number 3 is learn Italian. So as you know, my name is Amber Izzo. Izzo is Italian. My husband is half Italian. He grew up in Italy. and he speaks fluent Italian, as does his dad, and I don't really get any more Italian than doing this when I talk. I can say basic things, I can swear, but actual conversation, I'm quite limited as to what I can do. I can kind of say, hello, how are you? I'm good, thanks, how are you? And that's about as good as it goes. I can order wine and I can order pizza, because let's be honest, what more do you need? But I would like, by the end of the year, to be able to just have a basic conversation to, if I was to go to Italy, I would probably be able to get by. There is no way on this earth that by the end of the year I'm going to be fluent. I can't roll my R's, and so I get quite embarrassed when I'm trying to learn it, but it's something that I'd like to do. So I've got the Duolingo app, I've used it a few times, and I can say certain things and I remember certain things from there. I do think it's a really good app, but I'm also going to try and get Marco involved with this and try and get him to teach me. So maybe that's something I'll do. Maybe I'll do a video of him trying to teach me Italian, because to be honest, it's quite amusing watching me try and do it. But I can't. So, you know, like I say, whenever I've been to Italy before, the only thing I've needed is vino bianco and una pizza con l'uovo, and that's as good as it gets. So we'll see, but hopefully that is something that I would really like to try and invest some time in, even if it's half an hour a week, just to try and build up my skill there. Everyone always says they want to learn a new language, and I think learning a new language is so beneficial to you in life, so that's what I want to try and do. Number 4 is eat properly. She says, having just devoured a McDonald's, but I'm really bad at having 3 meals a day, so breakfast, lunch, dinner are things that I really struggle to do. Most of the time I will snack during the day and then just have dinner, or I will have lunch and I will have dinner, but I'll still snack. So I think what I'm going to try and do, it's quite hard because I work shifts, so sometimes I'm awake at 4 o'clock in the morning, other times I'm not finishing work till 6 o'clock in the morning. So eating in a regular pattern is quite hard for me, so I'm going to try and meal plan and prepare my meals the night before, so I have no excuse not to take food to work if I'm starting work at 6 AM, because otherwise it gets to 9 o'clock, I'm starving and I'm eating sausage baps, and then on top of that I'm just snacking on chocolate. So that is a really big thing for me, because I think it is my biggest downfall, and is one thing that I've always been really bad at. And I think I had a conversation on Instagram a little while ago, and I sat on my stories talking to everyone about it. And I think my relationship with food is really unhealthy, so that is my next goal. Number 5 is to save money. I am horrific with money. I'm really not very good. If I have something to save for, then I will save for it, but generally I could save a lot more than I do, because I just spend it, and then I always end up being in a situation where I haven't got the income to pay for things, and I end up using my savings. So if something goes wrong with my car, then I end up just spending all my money and having to borrow it, and I'm just not very good at it. So I've opened a Monzo account, so every month I'm transferring a disposable income into there that I can just spend on me. I'm transferring money into my Help to Buy ISA, I'm transferring money into my normal savings account, and then my Monzo, any change that I have, so say I spend, I don't know, £1.23 on something, it will then round that up, and the excess is put straight into an account which I have locked for December next year, at 30th of November actually, so that is my Christmas fund for next year. So it's little things, so whether I get to the end of the year with £200 in saving or 20,000 in saving, I just have something there, and I have a bit of savings. So I just want to start building up that rainy day fund, as it's not always great when you realise that you are literally living month to month. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm fed up of Marco being the one in our marriage with all the savings, so I want to take some responsibility too. Number 6 is linked, but number 6 is to pay off my credit card. So I haven't got a huge credit card bill, but I am paying it off monthly, and I think really I just want to pay it off. So I've started picking up some overtime from work, so any extra money I get in a month will go straight onto my credit card. So hopefully by the end of the year that is non-existent, which will obviously increase my disposable and increase the amount that I can put into savings. And I just think I like having a credit card, I like having that backup, but at the same time I don't like having it because I find it way too tempting to use. So that is something that I have hidden. In fact, I don't actually know where it is at the minute, so that's good. So that is just a goal. I think that will just help me generally, and I think working on my financial state is something I really want to do this year. I think I'm now officially in my mid-20s, I'm officially closer to 30 than I am 20, and so being financially stable is something that I think is really important around this time. It's the last thing I want to do is then go into my 30s and be like, oh, I wish I'd not spent so much money on McDonald's. Number 7 is practice accepting compliments. I am really bad at accepting compliments, and if someone tells me I look nice, I'm like, oh yeah, but have you seen this spot? And it's little things like that, or somebody will say, oh your hair looks really nice, have you coloured it? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. When actually I do really like it, but the fact that somebody else is telling me that, I'm a bit like, oh no, they've noticed it, does that mean it looks crap and they're just telling me it looks good? And I think everyone is a Regina George, like, oh my god, that's the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen. When I know that that's not the case. So I think that's something that I need to do, because if I start accepting what other people are saying about me, then maybe that will help my outlook. I don't know if you've ever heard of the self-fulfilling prophecy or the labelling theory. Without getting all philosophical on you, it's something I studied at university. And it's very much about, if somebody keeps telling you that you're a certain way, eventually you start to believe it. So if somebody is always telling you that you're fat, or somebody is always telling you that you're naughty, things like that, you eventually start to believe it. So I'm going to try and do that, but with compliments. And so if somebody tells me that I look good, or somebody is telling me that I've lost weight, or somebody is telling me that, I don't know, my makeup looks really good, then I'm going to accept it and I'm going to take it for what it is and go, yeah, cheers, thanks, it does. Rather than, oh no, but no. There's a difference, I think, between being arrogant and knowing what you are, and I think that is something that I really need to work on. So that is my next goal for 2020. So my 8th goal is working on my health. So this one for me, I am quite hung up at the moment on my weight and the way I look in that sense, from kind of the head down. So rather than wanting to lose weight and setting myself a goal of I need to lose this much weight, I know that I need to work on my health and my lifestyle as a whole. So I think that is something I'm going to work on, rather than what I see when I look in the mirror. And I would rather know that I was healthy than know that the number in the back of my jeans was smaller than a certain size. So that is it for me now. I think I need to try and just work on that, rather than I need to look a certain way. It's more about how I feel. So I know that if I'm eating better, I'm going to feel better, and with that will come a bit of weight loss. But my overall goal isn't going to be to look like Margot Robbie by the end of the year, because that isn't going to happen. I like food too much. Number 9 is stop being a people pleaser. So that's not me saying that I'm going to finish this year and turn into an arsehole. It means that I'm a bit of a pushover, and I say yes too much, and I do things I don't necessarily want to do to please other people, and I don't always take the time that I need for myself, because I'm so worried offending other people, or people that, I seem to have this thing where I want people to like me, and sometimes I will decide that I don't like someone before I've even met them, because I'm scared that they're not going to like me. And so I think that is something that I really do need to work on, and I need to work on just being myself, as opposed to just putting myself out there and panicking that Bob that I don't even know isn't going to like me. Like, I think I've said before, doing this whole YouTube thing and sitting here and filming myself and putting that out, I panic about what people are going to think. So that for me is, I need to stop worrying about what other people are going to think and stop trying to please everybody else, and just do what I want to do because I enjoy it. Number 10 is communicate my needs clearly. So that is something I think I'm really bad at, that I don't necessarily always tell people what I need, what I want. And then it ends up biting me in the backside, because things don't go my way and I get upset about it, or I get angry about something. And if I've not told people what I need, then they're not going to know. And I think especially as we approach our 2nd round of IVF, I need to be able to tell people what I need for them to be able to help me. Otherwise, the support just isn't going to be there. Number 11, go for a walk daily. So it's one thing walking the dog every day, but obviously I don't always do that. Sometimes that's Marco. And I think even when I'm at work and it's not me walking the dog, I have a lunch break in which I work near a country park that I can just go to and I can just walk. And for some reason I don't ever do it. So it's next on my list to do that, because I think it would just really help with mindfulness. It will really help just clear my head. I can get quite stressed, and so I think that going out and doing that will help my head more than anything. So that's next on my list, because on top of that, I don't really exercise. I've cancelled my gym membership because I was just paying through the nose for something I never did. So I just think it's a good way to get moving. It doesn't always need to be for a purpose. It doesn't always need to be just because I'm walking the dog. So for me, it's days where it isn't my turn to walk the dog, I'm still going out and I'm still getting a bit of fresh air. Number 12 is be more organised. I am one of the most unorganised people you'll ever meet. I like to think I'm organised. I have all the notebooks, all the diaries, all the planners. But really, you only have to look at the state of my house to realise I'm not that organised. I have a wardrobe rather than a wardrobe, and things just sometimes get a bit cluttered. I feel like if I kind of declutter my ways, then my head will declutter. And I feel like there's a bit of a correlation with that. So for me now, I just want to get everything in order, whether that's my makeup room, whether that's my bedroom, my kitchen, my day-to-day life. And I just need to kind of try and get everything on track, as I'm quite often late, things like that. So I just think if I can get everything in order, even if it's just step by step, you know, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be the most tidy person ever and every time someone's going to turn up at my house I'm going to have a house like Mrs. Hinch, because let's be honest, that's not realistic for most of us, as much as I love the woman. But you know, it's just little things, and I think just making sure that day to day I know where everything is, I know what I'm doing, everything has a home. I just feel like that will make me feel more at ease and my life will just be a bit more fluent. Number 13, do something out of my comfort zone every month. So initially I did this as every week and then changed my mind because I don't think it's doable. I have a bit of a thing where I get quite anxious. Like, I wouldn't go as far as to say I have anxiety or anything like that. I just don't think I'm the most confident of people in situations where I don't know anyone or I've never been, things like that. And I will put off doing things because it's completely out of my comfort zone and I'm scared. So that is something I think I need to work on. Like, when I first met Marco, for years I wouldn't even take a phone call in front of him because I was embarrassed, and I embarrass really easily. So I feel like that is something I need to work on, and I need to work on getting my confidence back, because once upon a time I was the most confident person you'll ever meet, and then things happened and I'm not anymore. So I just feel like I need to work on getting that back and pushing myself to step out my comfort zone every now and again. Number 14, take a full day off from social media once a month. I desperately need to do this. I don't know if anyone has on their iPhone. I'm presuming a lot of you do that screen time thing and it tells you how much time you spend on a week on your phone. Mine is through the roof. And I don't really know why, but I just seem to have a bit of an obsession with social media and I spend way too much time on it. So I feel like that is a good goal for me, that once a month I just turn my phone off kind of thing and I'm just away from it all. I did come off Facebook and Twitter and Instagram a little while ago, and I came off for about a month, but I kept my blog account, and I think it did do me the world of good, and now I can feel myself slipping back into that stage where all I do is be on my phone. So that I think is a really good goal, but I think that's a good goal for anyone, because I think anyone who tries to tell me that social media doesn't impact your mental health, I think, no, check yourself. It really, really does. I think I'm constantly comparing myself to this life of everybody else that everybody else puts on social media, and it's not real. So I think it's a good thing to every now and again just bring ourselves back down to earth, and that is what I'm going to try and do. Number 15, enroll and complete an online course. So I love learning. I really do. I think enrolling in an online course isn't ever going to be a bad thing. I'm not saying I'm going to enroll to the Open University, but a lot of places do like free courses, and I just think it's good. I just like to learn, and I think, stuff it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do something different. Whether it takes me the entire year, I don't care. As long as I've done it by the end of the year, I'm happy. But that's it. You can never know too much. Number 16 is spend more time with my family. So one thing I've realised recently is just how little time I actually do spend with my family. We spend so much time with Marco's family. My mum lives 200 miles away, but she's actually moving back home in the summer. My sister's moving back closer. My dad works all over the world, so sometimes it is really hard to see my dad. The only person I see regularly is my grandma. She's my best mate, and that's never going to change. But I do think it would do me some good to kind of spend more quality time with them. So like I said, we spent some of Christmas with my dad, which was really lovely for me, and I actually got quite emotional about it on the way home, because I just feel like, although in my head he lives quite far away, he doesn't. Like, it's not a 5-minute drive like all of Marco's family, it's a 15-20 minute drive. And so sometimes, like, for some reason I feel like every time I go see my family I have to spend hours there, when that's not the case. I can just pop in for a cup of tea, but for some reason I don't ever do it. So that, I think, is something really important, because I don't know, I'm starting to realise, you know, people aren't here forever, things change, and your family don't go anywhere, and if they're good for you then you need to spend the time with them. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, and that's one I think I feel quite guilty and a bit emotional about. So that is next on my list, spend more time with my family. Terribly sorry there, the camera died. Whoever thought not to charge the camera before filming? Obviously I left my brain in bed this morning. Number 17, I have decided that I need to commit to reading more. I absolutely love a good book, I really, really do. I used to have a book club, I really, really do love reading, but I just never seem to give myself the time to do it anymore. So the next thing on my list is making sure that even if I just read 6 books this year, that's 6 more books than I've read this year. That's a slight lie, I did read a couple this year. So it's 4 more books than I read this year. But I think it's just really important that I do that because I really do enjoy it. I find it such an escape, and I find myself really lost in it. So that is something that I definitely want to do this year. I've got a pile of books downstairs that I bought throughout the year that I've not read, so that is definitely something that I really, really want to do this year, and something that I also think is quite doable. Number 18 is finish decorating the house. So if you know me, you will know that I literally change how my house is decorated all the time. Not in massive ways, like my house was all white and grey, and throughout the year I've just incorporated a bit more colour into it. But I started decorating my bedroom in September and I've just not done it. So I've literally glossed half of it and started painting the furniture, and that's about as good as it gets. We have decided that we want new furniture, so again it costs money, but the actual decorating of it I need to get done and want to get done. On top of that, my kitchen, that again we could do with the new kitchen, but other things have to take priority, so we're not paying for that at the minute. So I've bought the cupboard pane and I have all these ideas in my head of little DIY fixes of things that I've seen on Instagram other people do, and it's doable where you can do things up without spending all this money. So that is something that I'm going to work on doing this year. So it is things like painting my kitchen cupboards or finishing painting my bedroom and getting the furniture sorted. But I think my thing is doing things on a budget I'm not very good at. So I need to get a lot of inspiration off Instagram, a lot of inspiration off Pinterest, and yeah, hopefully it will all get done sooner rather than later because it's doing my head in now, and I just feel like my bedroom is a bit mismatched and a bit jumble sale like because I've got the bedding and the back wall and half the skirting boards done, but the rest of it just isn't done. So it's just part blue, part black, part gold, and it all just looks a bit weird. So yeah, the sooner that is all done, the better, she says. Next on my list is number 19, which is get 7 hours of sleep daily. Again, I work shifts, so I find this really hard because I will start my week where I'm awake at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then by the end of the week I'm not going to bed until 3 o'clock, sometimes even 7 o'clock in the morning. So getting a regular sleep isn't something I'm very good at, especially after my night shifts, as when I then go on to my days off, I like to try and just get minimal sleep so that I'm not losing an entire day. But it is something that I need to work on because when I'm tired, I'm really not a very nice person to be around. I don't get much done and it's just not really ideal. So that is next on my list and something major that I need to work on. So I've said 7 hours. I know that on average you should be getting between 7 and 8 hours sleep a night. But like I say, it's not always doable for me. So I think 7 hours is a good number. And yeah, I think hopefully if I start getting into routine of having that much sleep, I will just feel a lot better about myself and get a lot of stuff done. So that is something, again, I'm not saying that I'm definitely going to have 7 hours sleep every single night. And that is something that I will reiterate with everything on this list, that not everything is achievable immediately. Not everything is a huge thing. They're all little bits here and there, which, like I say, they're not things that I have to do every day. They're things I want to work on overall to try and make me a bit of a better person, to try and help me do certain things. So yeah, it's baby steps. So I've got to walk before I can run, and that is something that I think this is. So again, with the 7 hours sleep, it is very much just trying to get myself into that bit, a bit more of a routine. Like I always say with my job, one thing I do miss about a standard 9-5 job is the routine. And I have never struggled with tiredness to the extent that I struggle with it now. And I do think that's because of the shifts that I do, that I don't have a routine. I am someone who really does need a routine, and I think that is something that I want to try and incorporate back into my life as much as I can. So to do that, I am just going to start with my sleep and just see whether or not that helps me be a bit more productive and feel a bit more like, right, this is what I need to do. And then again, it links back to the planning and the eating and everything else. That sleep, I think, is so integral to a good healthy lifestyle. Number 20, so my final goal for 2020, this is quite a big one, it's a bit deep, so I am sorry, get your little violins out. So something I have spoken about in my fertility episodes, if you've not watched them, is the therapy that I'm undergoing at the minute. So I'm having counselling, but this is also incorporating EMDR, or is it EDMR? No, it's EMDR. Why do I keep getting this wrong? EMDR therapy. So this is where you're basically looking at someone and you're following their fingers like this, and it's all about your repetitive eye movement to get over trauma. I don't have PTSD or anything like that, but what I do have is some trauma that I have struggled to deal with. And so with everything with the IVF and my infertility, this seems to have triggered a lot of things for me that I can't put to bed. So it's things like, you know, things that happened as a result of my parents splitting up, and then on top of that, you know, before I was with Marco, was in quite a nasty relationship that really took its toll on me, and it was quite an abusive, quite a nasty relationship, and I didn't come out of that in the best of ways, and I think it's left a lot of things in my head that need dealing with. There's a lot of things that have happened over the last 10 years, if you like, that aren't like, that is probably the most major thing to have happened to me, bar my infertility, but little things here and there that have just stuck with me in my head that I'm trying to deal with. So by the end of next year, I want to have been able to say I've got over that, and that I have put that in a box at the back of my head. It's always going to be there. There's always going to be times where I think of these things, but I want them to be things that happened, not that are still triggering me in my head now, and I don't want to still feel upset about them, and I don't want to think about them every day. I want them to be something insignificant in the back of my head that was significant at the time but isn't significant anymore. And I think that is really important for me, to be able to feel more at peace with myself and to get my confidence back, and all these different things that I feel will just make me feel more at ease and happier. So that is something really important to me. So it's something like when my sessions finish with the NHS, like they are now, that if I feel I need it, that I continue to do that privately, because I don't think you can put a price on your mental health, and that is something I'm starting to realise. So that is something that is really important to me. So moving on from my past is the biggest thing on there, but probably the most significant thing and the most important thing to me, as I think it's something that I need to do to just feel more stable in my life and to feel more whole in myself, if that makes sense. There you go. So they are my 20 goals for 2020. I hope you found some inspiration from that. I think they're all linked in one way or another. They're not major things that are all going to be implemented immediately. I'm going to kind of review this every 3 months, so quarterly if you like, and see where I'm at with that. And it's baby steps. It's learning to walk before you can run, and I think that is where people go really, really wrong with making New Year's resolutions, in that they expect everything to change immediately, and it is so hard. Like, realistically, I think it's something like you can only change things in 3s without doing a complete person overhaul. And that's the last thing I want to do. I do quite like who I am. I don't want to completely change who I am. There's just certain things that I think need to change in my life that I'm quite looking forward to doing. We're going into a whole new decade, and I just think, right, this is the last 5 years of my 20s now. Let's nail it. You know, I've spent enough time feeling down about myself and letting this IVF get the better of me, and letting my whole world revolve around my infertility, and just letting things that have happened over the years get me down, and letting everything get cluttered and complicated, that now is just time to clear everything out and just live life in a way that is good for me. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me know what your New Year's resolutions are, if you like, or your goals for 2020 and your goals for the next decade. Drop me a comment. As always, if you really like this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up, and that you subscribe to my channel. I am back on my weekly episodes. I need to stop calling them episodes because this isn't the fertility episodes anymore. But I am going to start doing my weekly videos again throughout the whole of 2020. But yeah, and as always, if you don't follow me on Instagram, then head over there as well, because I'm always on my stories. But yeah, thank you ever so much, and I hope you all have a really, really happy new year. I don't think I will see you again unless I get one of my fertility episodes uploaded, which I'm really hoping to do. But if not, then have a fabulous new year. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in 2020. I'll see you next year.